Today, we're going to collect some beautiful flower seeds to make more flowers soon. And I'll show you how to do it so you can grow a lot of flowers for free too. And on top of that, see that tool I'm using? I'm going to show you how to save a $1 tool to last for a very long time. Hi, this is Robbie, and we're going to collect seeds the right way so they'll grow. So what I'm doing is I'm removing all the heads right now. I'm putting them in my bucket. Now, some people would say only collect the biggest ones, so this way you'll have big flowers. And that is true, but this is the way I look at it. This plant grew a massive amount of beautiful zinnia. It doesn't cost me anything. The heads are free, which is full of seeds in there, and you never know what it's going to grow because it hybridizes with each other. So in my outlook, why not collect them all and spread them around, and whatever grows, grows. I'm not selling them. I'm not trying to produce anything fancy. I'm just collecting free seeds that grew here in a very happy situation, in a tote, growing with some pepinos. And look how big it got. I mean, it was massive, and it was all different colors, orange and pink. I'm gonna collect them all, but I'm gonna do it now. And the reason I'm doing it now, see the sky? We are going to have a rainstorm. So if I collect it when it's wet, I would have to dry them, because if they sat too long, they could start to germinate. I may not see it, but and then I could dry it after that. But the point is, once they get really wet, if they don't dry quick enough, then they could start to germinate and it would be no good to replant. I'm gonna continue doing this as the people on the hill continue with their project, and it's just too loud for me to talk over them. But let's get all these heads off, and then I can just sit this somewhere in the house or someplace that is completely out of moisture and rain. So I'm going to come back here along past my milkweed, which I should collect more seeds. Look at this. You know what this is? Milkweed already starting to grow. Back here, there's some more heads, and I'm going to collect them all. I'm not going to worry about taking off the beautiful dried petals. I'm going to leave that, because for growing, it will add compost. And wait a minute. Oh, look at this. I have tomatoes back here. I didn't even know. This plant can use some grooming too. And look at all the milkweed coming up in here. And where's the zinnias? Here's the zinnias. So it was growing here next to a pitcher. So it was getting a lot of nutrition from that pitcher. You know how I do the video, or I did the video on the pitcher? I would continue to add in leaves and different things from the garden. Well, it was feeding this pot that was growing these zinnias. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7 zinnia plants came up in that pot because I threw a handful of seeds in there. And it grew all these. So we're going to get that out. And of course, don't forget, we compost this, and that will go into either a dish pan like what's growing here, or it will go into something else. But for now, I could just chop it all out and put it in a tote for later. So let me finish getting the last of the zinnias. Got that. Isn't this gorgeous? I've got a few more left, almost all done. And this is how easy it is. I can just put it in the bucket and push it down. It won't matter if I crush it. See, these are the seeds. They're in the center. See the seeds? Let's see if you can see them. Zinnia seeds look really flat. There's the seeds. So now we just want to keep them dry. Like I said, if I was selling them, you want them cleaner, you don't want bugs in them, you want to make sure it's perfect. But now I can go in the spring and just crumble these up and sprinkle them anywhere. Take a handful of soil, put it on top, and then water it. And I'm going to have zinnias growing everywhere. I do it all the time. And you never know. You know the story of the ugly duckling? You could have a terrible looking flower that throws the most beautiful new plant with beautiful flowers. So I don't know what I'm going to get out of here, but it doesn't matter. All these seeds were free from this 1 or 7 plants in there. Doesn't cost me anything. I have nothing to lose. There's another one down here I've got to get. Just think, if this gets wet down here, just like what's growing over there, all the milkweed, this could end up growing zinnias too. Now I'm going to collect all the branches. I'm going to cut them off. I'm going to put them in this bucket, and I'll have that for compost later, and I can clear this area. And if I see any more seed heads, I'll grab it and put it in here.
Now you could just do that. And you know what? You could just grab a handful and give it to friends. Now, if you grab this and gave it to a friend, it's going to be probably looking similar, not exactly the same, but it will be an interesting flower. But if you crumble them up and give them a handful of the mixed flowers, they won't know what they're going to get either. They could be so different. And that is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, let me get this plant out. Okay, the zinnia plant is now out. It's all in that bucket, ready for spring, or I can dump it in anytime, even if I'm working in the winter. I've got all my seeds. And let me give you a tip on this. I bought this for like $1.50 at one of the dollar stores, and the spring keeps coming out. I already lost it once, twice, 2-3 times it came out actually. But once I couldn't find it and I found it again. So I'm going to take a piece of yarn, maybe red or whatever color yarn I've got. I'm going to tie it to the spring. So when I'm using it and it pops out on the ground, I'll be able to see it no matter what. Just a piece of string, it won't be in my way. But this way I won't lose it, because once you lose that, it's really hard to cut with it. You'd have to open it up with your hand to cut. But this way I'll be able to see it.
And one more tiny tip in a few minutes.
Now this is another flower. This is some sort of wild daisy or sunflower. Actually, I think it was a sunflower, which is probably all in the daisy family anyways. And I'm going to collect that separate. I could, being that I'm rushing due to the storm, collect all this and throw it in there, but then I'll get zinnias and I'll get wild sunflowers. I might just grab these little seed heads and put them in a separate little bucket and keep my zinnias separate. And this way I'll know if I gave some away or planted it, no matter what, it's going to be zinnias of all different colors and all different sizes, and probably giant zinnias since it was so big in there. Wow, that's quite open now. Look at that. Now I grow zinnias everywhere. I sprinkle seeds. Now here's some that are growing that are absolutely beautiful, just in that container on the ground. But this is what I wanted to share with you. See how the flowers are gone on here? The petals are coming off. This is not ready to collect the seed. Not at all. There's a little bit of pollen left. Even this one. See how this one's completely gone? All the petals are off. It looks nothing like this anymore. The seeds are developing. Now, how do you know? The stem is still green. As long as it's green, it's being fed off the plants. Now, you would only want to deadhead this if you're not interested in collecting the seed. Then you could deadhead it all the way back. If you deadhead it here, you may have another flower come through here or here. But if you try to take it off now, the seeds are not ready. They're still completely developing. And if you pick them too early, the seed heads like this, they won't do anything because they're not ready. So if I'm going to collect this, if I really like this flower, I want to leave this till the stem is completely brown. At that point, you can pick it and put it away to plant somewhere else. You could cut it off down here now and try to dry it, but I'm going to say that you would maybe be lucky enough to get 1 or 2 seeds, if that. See, here's a flower developing down here. Can you see that? That's another little flower that wants to develop there. And of course, if you deadhead your zinnias, you'll get a whole lot more flowers, because as you can see, it wants to grow more. So it depends. Here's another one coming up. It will depend on, do you want flowers or do you want seeds? And right now, going into winter, I'm going to let it do its thing and I'm going to collect it. See how this one came up here? See how there's another flower trying to come up through here? And here you've got this one that's pretty much done. This one is done. But I'm going to leave it because I'll probably collect some seeds. But if I want to get a few more flowers, I could deadhead part of it. You don't have to take it off. Deadheading is when you're taking off your flowers that are done, so it will continue to spike more. If I cut this here, hold on. If I cut this here, this one will take off. I'll probably get more down there, and I'll get a cluster of flowers. See down here, they're all trying underneath to get more. I think there's even more down there. So that's up to you. But right now I want to collect the seeds, and I think that is really pretty. So keep that in mind. Don't pick them too early, or you'll go to plant the seeds and they will not grow. Leave them, let them finish on the mother plant. The seeds will grow because it's pulling its nutrition from the plant itself, and then you'll have hundreds of beautiful flower plants to grow later. So it's totally up to you what you're trying to accomplish with your plant.
And one more note on the tool, which works great, the yarn. I didn't have red yarn, so I'm taking some painter's tape like I use in the garden. It's waterproof. I'm sticking it on the bottom, and this way, when it falls off, I'll see that tag. With that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.